He was very like, get up and go get the salt, go to the bathroom 12 times. And it was like, dude, everyone sees you, no one gives a fuck, okay? We're rich, we're famous, we don't care who you are. And like, right. And the comb over looks worse after skiing than it did when you started.
The first criticism focuses on Donald Trump's public image rather than his policies. Critics have often argued that Trump has always been deeply concerned with appearances, whether it's how he presents himself in public, how he reacts to cameras, or how he carries himself at high-profile events. Stories from people who have spent time around him frequently describe someone who pays close attention to every detail of his image. Supporters, however, see that differently. They argue that successful business leaders and politicians naturally care about presentation because perception matters in leadership. The disagreement isn't really about appearance alone. It reflects a broader debate over whether image has become more important than substance in modern politics. In an age of television, social media, and 24-hour news coverage, every public appearance becomes part of a political campaign. Critics believe too much attention is placed on optics, while supporters argue that projecting confidence is itself an important leadership quality.
He doesn't want to be president. He said no one's more surprised than him. He wants the crowds. He wants the adulation. He doesn't give a shit about the work.
He just should not be he shouldn't be in control of the remote, okay? Be president, just up your game a little bit.
The second argument shifts from appearance to motivation. Critics claim Donald Trump has always enjoyed the spotlight more than the responsibilities that come with public office. They argue that large rallies, television coverage, cheering crowds, and constant attention have always been central to his political identity. According to this view, the campaign trail offers excitement, while governing requires compromise, patience, and detailed policy work. Supporters reject that interpretation entirely. They argue Trump's public rallies allow him to communicate directly with voters without relying on traditional media. And they believe his unconventional approach is exactly what separates him from career politicians. This disagreement raises an important question. Should charisma and public enthusiasm be considered strengths in a leader, or should voters place greater emphasis on administrative experience, policy expertise, and institutional leadership?
So dangerous, and what he brings to my country, what he's awakened in my country, is bigotry and distrust and a certain kind of supremacy in certain groups and
The third criticism is broader and focuses on the impact Trump's leadership has had on American politics. Critics argue that his rhetoric has intensified political divisions, encouraged distrust, and amplified existing cultural conflicts. They point to debates over immigration, race, elections, and political identity as examples of issues that became even more polarized during his presidency. Supporters strongly disagree, arguing that these divisions already existed and that Trump simply gave voice to concerns many Americans felt had been ignored for years. They believe he challenged political correctness and confronted issues that previous leaders preferred to avoid. The truth is that modern American politics was already becoming increasingly polarized before Donald Trump entered the White House. Economic inequality, social media, declining trust in institutions, and cultural disagreements had all been building for years. Trump's arrival accelerated those debates and placed them at the center of national attention. Whether one views that as positive or negative often depends on political perspective. Immigration became one of the defining issues of Trump's political career. His supporters viewed stronger border security as essential to national sovereignty and public safety. Critics argued that some of his language and proposals risked unfairly portraying immigrants as threats, rather than recognizing the complexity of immigration policy. The result was one of the most intense national conversations on border security in decades. The same pattern appeared in discussions about the media. Trump frequently criticized major news organizations, calling them unfair and biased. His supporters believed many outlets treated him differently than previous presidents and appreciated his willingness to challenge established media institutions. Critics argued that repeated attacks on journalists could weaken public trust in an independent press, an institution many consider essential to democratic accountability. Political rhetoric itself also changed significantly during the Trump era. Supporters often praised Trump's direct communication style, saying he spoke plainly and without the carefully crafted language used by many politicians. Critics argued that blunt language sometimes crossed into unnecessary personal attacks, making political compromise even more difficult. As social media amplified every statement, Disagreements that once remained inside Washington increasingly became national controversies within minutes.